Alright, Trial Mob, so it seems like the hype train is just not going to stop because this Warhammer stuff just keeps coming and coming, and as far as I can tell, it keeps getting better and better. So let me go ahead and break down some of the recent news that we've gotten, and let's see if this is something that you guys might be just as interested and as happy to see that is being announced as I am. Alright, let's get it. Now, before I go any further, I just wanted to share with you guys this meme that I saw earlier. I had thought it was absolutely hilarious, had me zooted, but anyways, when you start smoking again after taking a break, you get floored. Alright, let's get into the news. Alright, Trial Mob, so earlier this week, Joytoy gave us this beautiful photo of the Space Marine Intercessors, the Primaris Space Marine Intercessors, completely painted, and as you can tell, they look phenomenal with absolutely no detail spared, down to the pauldrons, the gold trim on the armor, which I love. I really love the way that these guys look. This looks a lot more reminiscent to what we are used to seeing when it comes to the Space Marine stuff, the Ultramarine stuff specifically. So this looks great, down to the red painted helmet of what should be basically their captain, but they also are sharing a little bit of the spotlight with two soldiers in the background that, as you can tell, they are not blue armored. These guys are black armored, gold trim with a little bit of red, a red teardrop to be specific. So I think you guys know who this is, and we're going to talk about it right now. So on top of that beautiful photo, we did get some prototype figures for another group, and we're going to go ahead and talk about it right now. So these are going to be the Blood Angels, specifically from the Death Company. So instead of being the same red that we're normally used to seeing, these are actually going to be a different color. Now, as you can tell, they have for the most part basically the same overall look as the regular Primaris Intercessors that we're going to be getting, and that's really the main focus about a lot of these Primaris stuff, is that they end up sharing a lot of the same beats as basically the big thing about the Primaris stuff from Warhammer. If you've paid attention or if you've been keeping up to date, they became a lot more uniform. So there's very minimal differences to show in between these guys, but one of the main ones is we're going to see different styles of heads. We do get different pauldrons, right? Because instead of the Ultramarine stuff on the left pauldron, as you can tell on the guy on the left, you actually get the Blood Angels pauldron, which is, again, a nice feature. And they're not going to be red armored, they'll be black armored, but they'll have a few other differences as well. Now, the Primaris, the Primarch for these guys was Sanguinus, and basically he was light-skinned, blonde-haired, and these guys are most likely going to follow in the same style, basically. So it's really cool to see that, there's not too many differences in terms of the armor, but the armor color will be different, and I kind of like that they're going for this black color that you guys saw in that earlier photo, as it will distinguish them, I think, a little bit more than if maybe they were red. But I do hope that we do eventually get the red guys. I'm not sure how Joytoy is able to pick and choose what they're going to do, but it's still really cool to be seeing not just the regular Death Angels, the Blood Angels, but specifically the ones from the Death Company. So that is pretty badass. And of course, they're going to come with some of the same weapons, some of the same armor bits, and that's really how it is in the actual the tabletop game itself. So again, accurate to the source material. And as you can tell, this guy's probably going to be, blonde haired as he should be. So again, a lot of the same weapons. It's actually kind of funny that they have blue hands. That's probably something that they did specifically just to be able to take these photos, because obviously they're not painted in blue, and they're not cast in blue either. So again, this is just something that is interesting. But overall, I do love the way that these guys look. Again, they share all the same beats from the Primaris Intercessors, the normal ones, and it's just going to be another color choice for you. So for you Ultramarine fans, you're getting what you want, but also for you Blood Angels fans, you're getting what you want. And hopefully that also means that we'll get Incursors and Infiltrators that are also in the Blood Angels motif, maybe specifically the Death Company. And then, as you guys can tell right here on the guy on the right, over the right pauldron, there is that little shield that they come with that has the big teardrop sign. The blood teardrop, I guess, is what it is, or the blood drop. And so, again, that's something else that we're seeing that's a little different, because I do believe there's a different insignia on the Ultramarines version of this. So, again, there's a lot here that is going to be basically exactly the same, but, again, a different color scheme, a few other different traits. you know, it'll be nice to see when they start getting into some of the more obscure, if they ever do get into some of the more obscure figures, or should I say chapters, as we'll be able to see, you know, I think Vulcan is literally black skinned, like I don't even know how to describe it. You'd have to see it yourself, but they also have, I believe, glowing eyes. So I mean, it'll be cool to see some of those beats again once we start seeing that. If Joy Toy ever gets around to doing some of those other more obscure chapters that we haven't seen too much of. But again, these guys look imposing, they look great, and I imagine that black armor is going to be awesome, especially for those of you that just want to go in there, maybe make a couple of paint changes, and basically you'll have yourself what should be the Crusader. Oh, I'm actually at a loss for which chapter it is, but you guys know exactly what I'm talking about if you're a Warhammer fan. Now, I did want to make sure that I highlighted the fact that on top of the fact that we're going to be getting certain heads, that it looks like it's more than confirmed that we'll be getting extra heads to go on them. So it looks like here we'll be able to get the one head that they come with that's exposed, like the guy you see here, but then on top of that you'll get a helmeted head, which is again a very nice addition, as you'll be able to buy multiple sets of these, have the few that, you know, are unhelmeted, but also be able to throw in the helmeted heads in there. So if you buy 5 sets, it's all good. You can have a lot of them helmeted, and the few that you want to be obviously unique characters, you'll be able to show them as unhelmeted. So definitely, if this is the way that they're going, this is really nice additions that we're going to be getting from Joy Toy. Now, just in case if you're wondering what these guys are supposed to look like, this right here is the Death Company. So as you can tell, some of the weapons are actually going to be red themselves, and there's going to be darker tones, as you could see. And I don't know, this looks absolutely badass. I love this black colored armor with the red accenting. It's one of my favorite color combos, black and red. So the fact that we're getting the Death Company first before we even get specifically the Blood Angels is really cool, and I hope that we do get a lot of their lore, because there is something specifically special about the Death Company. And again, if you know Joy Toy, you know how they like to be as accurate as they can to the source material. This is basically exactly what we're going to be getting, so this is going to be a really nice feature overall. Now, switching over to Planet Green Valley, we are going to be getting a lot of new figures from them as well. As you can tell, this is a lot more of their soldiers, and they look really great. The fact that we're able to get some of them in the poses that we see here, really nice, and there's just a heap load of them. So I do hope that these become available, as this will look really nice. These are known for coming with nice weapons, overall nice materials, and then of course they're fairly modular, so this is going to be really nice if we can get our hands on all of these. Now, obviously a lot of what we're seeing here is prototypical, so we're not going to see anything basically finished, but as you can tell, there's a lot going on here. Female bucks, male bucks, different heights, helmeted and fully unhelmeted. So I don't know if you'll be able to remove the helmets, or a lot of the PGV stuff you can basically take off helmets and put on helmets. So this is just a good look of what more or less they're going to look like. And I like the fact that all the female characters are just as armored up from tip to bottom as the male characters. So Acid Rain, take some notes. This is what you should be doing, but hey, you know what? Everyone has their own style. Now, maybe I'm tripping here, but if you guys look to the very, very left, I'm pretty sure that guy on the very, very left comes with some kind of sword. I could be wrong, but I'm seeing a little bit of that going on, and if it is a sword, that's absolutely badass. I've seen a few photos of some of these guys, or some of the ones that have already come out with some swords in their hands. They look pretty badass. And then of course here we get a few shots of them holding their weapons and aiming down sight and looking just absolutely tactical. This looks really good, man. I've never owned a PGV before, but this might be one of the first ones, and I'm actually just realizing if you look to the left, the second guy to the left that's unhelmeted, you'll notice that he seems to have robotic legs from the knees down. Now that's something that I like about PGV, that a lot of their stuff seems to be like low-key futuristic. It's not super in your face. You just have to like look at it, and then you realize, oh, he's got robotic legs. They're not normal. And it's just kind of sprinkled in there. Like, it looks fairly normal, and there's just a little bit of sci-fi sprinkled here and there, and I like that low-key aesthetic. And then here we have a little bit of a close-up, and as you can tell, those guns, oh man, those guns look great. And there's just, you know, multiple, I'm pretty sure that everybody in this frame right here has a different weapon. So again, badass that we're getting a nice just array of different guns that all still look lethal, right? We're not getting like, oh, 2 guys with assault, right? Like, you know, snipers or something. Like, everybody here has a weapon that can go full auto, and that's just badass. And then right here we have a close-up of the other 5 figures that we're seeing in some of these photos right here, and again, they look great. And I do believe all of them most likely will come with a pistol on the side, so that'll be nice. As you can tell, one of them has it right there and he holds it perfectly fine. So again, just to see more or less the fact that these guys can aim down sight with their weapons. You know, PGV knows what they're doing when they're showing their figures like this and showing them in their articulated poses like this, because being able to aim down sight and then also being able to crouch like this is a godsend. And then of course we just have a few more photos of these guys and a bunch of looks that are legitly tactical. Like this really looks like something out of like Call of Duty. You know, I know that Joy Toy right now is coming out with their own stuff that looks a lot like this, but you know, I might have to save off on buying some of that, because again, this PGV stuff looks real nice, and it looks like they have again a giant squad. Now of course it's not going to be as realistic as Joy Toy, since Joy Toy does do a lot of realistic stuff, but I mean PGV has its own stuff and this looks great. There's just something about PGV figures that really comes off as looking really natural. I mean, look at the guy on the right. The kneeling position is in, the way the hand comes down. I mean, they really know what they're doing over there in PGV, and I really hope that they can, you know, get these out to us, because I would want to buy a few.